Yeah. Yeah. Hi. Good evening, all of you guys. Hope all of you can hear me. Anyone, can you please confirm, guys? Is I'm audible?
Yes, you are.
Yeah.
Yes, you are.
Yeah. Thank you, guys. So, guys, let me introduce myself. This is Vamsi Krishna here, guys. So, basically, my profession is my expertise is on data science related technologies. So from the last 5-6 years, I was into the data science related technologies. And even in the DURGASOFT, whatever the DURGASOFT Institute is there. So I will be handling the regularly, which is data science and all the data science. My main expertise is on the data science actually. But this session, it's not related to, that means you really don't require anything like what is my expertise on that. Why? Because here we are here not to learn any language, or we are not here to learn any which is going to be a technology. So we know that we are going to be here to learn about one of the operating system, which is going to be one of the operating system, which is going to be what we are going to call it as UNIX. Actually, the base operating system is going to be UNIX. From UNIX, we have a different flavors are there, like Linux. We have a different flavors we are going to be having it actually, guys. Yeah, just give me a second. Somebody is saying that they are not able to hear. Just let us say that, please join. Right. Right, guys. If anybody, guys, if you have any issue with the audio, so from my side, I don't have any problem with the audio. Maybe sometimes there may be some technical. So you please, what you can do is you can just go for something, rejoin it once again, guys. Right. So like here we are going to be learning about what is Unix, what is Linux, Unix or Linux. I'll make you differentiate it actually. And one more thing is, nowadays everyone, almost all everyone has been here and there. They already know. Earlier, some years before, I can say. So somewhere around, I can say somewhere around 10 years before. So 10 years before, mostly people used to use Microsoft operating system. So we know that different types of operating systems are there, guys. Mainly we works on two different operating system. One is going to be Windows and other one is going to be Unix. Now we are using the Mac, which is going to be the Apple operating system, isn't it? So mainly we are going to be, most of the people, even our systems, even my system is also, you can see, this is purely a Windows operating system actually. So anybody, guys, anyone from your side? So whenever we already have Windows, so why you have to learn this particular Unix or Linux? Yeah, Aslesha, right? From my side, guys, anyone, can you please confirm?
Because most of the servers are running on Linux, that's why.
Okay, no, please, guys. Yeah. Aslesha, so I think just give me a second. Just somebody saying that there is some problem is there. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, remaining guys, all of you is clear. Are you getting any disturbance or anything like that? Or is it very clear? Or is my audio is clear, guys?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So yeah, from my side, generally, I don't have a problem, guys, because my internet is fast. Even my audio is also, I'm using some little bit advanced level, a little bit noise cancellation based headphones when I'm using. You don't get even any noise also from my side. If you have any issue, you can please re-log in once again, guys. Yeah, guys. Fine. So why? Yeah, guys. So discussion is like why whenever we have a Windows is there, like why we are going to be, why we have to learn the Unix or Linux, whatever the operating system. Anyone? Once again, somebody saying that.
So because in organization there are servers.
Okay. So Unix. Okay, somebody saying that. Shiv Krishna is saying that Unix is far better than the Windows for the server operating system. Lot of advantages, durability, fast, secure. Absolutely. Okay. Okay, fine. That is also fine. So, okay, we are not talking about the operating system. But as of now, guys, most of the people, that means most of these particular technologies, whatever the technologies, the latest technologies we are going to be using, they are going to be preferring to run on this particular Unix operating systems. Anyhow, I will discuss a little bit more about them. We all of you know that this Unix or Linux, whatever, maybe some of you may know aware about what is Unix and what is Linux. So not both of them are not going to be same actually. It's not both of them are same. The base operating system is Unix. One of the flavor of Unix is going to be Linux. The Linux is one of the flavor. So from the Linux, again, we have a different flavors are there. We'll see that. We'll see that application later. So coming to the discussion, as we know that Windows are going to be somewhat, which is going to be the main points I have to discuss here is Windows are going to be something like which is going to be commercial operating systems. Commercial operating system means we have to pay some license. Without the license, we can't use the Windows. We can't use the Windows without having any license, because we know that nowadays every machine or every laptop we are going to be buying, we have to pay some. We don't directly pay the license, but obviously the company, whether I buy a Lenovo laptop or whether I buy a HP or buy some other company, obviously they will cost me along with that, because they will pay. For example, if I buy a Lenovo laptop, Lenovo is going to be pays that particular operating system, whatever the cost, to the Microsoft. So that's why what we are going to be using here is we are directly paying to that particular, not directly paying to the Microsoft, but indirectly through the Lenovo, we are going to be paying that particular one. So we know that Microsoft was developed by, which is going to be the Windows was developed by Microsoft. So which is going to be a commercial operating system. We have to pay some money. So approximately 3,000, 4,000 it will cost. But this one is going to be nothing but they are not, I don't say they are free. Basically, they are called as open source operating systems. I'll explain this. I'll explain what is meaning of open source operating systems later. But as of now, this is going to be what we are going to call it as an open source operating system actually. Open source basically idea here is directly there are going to be even Microsoft. That means even in Microsoft, if you buy the Microsoft Windows also, whenever we buy the license, they will share only the executable code to us. They don't share the source code. I think you already aware about, all of you having idea about what is meaning of source code. Source code is nothing but whatever the code we have been got written is going to be nothing but what we have been written. That is going to be what we can write, what we can call it as source code. For example, you guys has been learned Java. So you are going to write a Java program with the extension of .java. So it is going to be what we are going to call it as a source code. It is going to be a source code. For example, whenever we talk about this Microsoft is not going to share you any source code to us. Whatever the code they have written, they don't share any code to us. They will only share the executable code only, but not the source code. But that's why if you want to make any changes to the particular code, we can't make any changes because we don't have a source code with us. But whenever it comes to this particular open source operating systems, they directly share you the source code to us. What is meaning of source code means whatever the code that has been got written, that particular entire code is going to be available to us. So somebody is saying that we can customize it. Absolutely. The source code will be given. We can make the modifications as you require. And if you want, you can sell that particular. That means open source products are going to be, they are going to be free to use. That means you can use it at a free of cost, as well as even we can also distribute it also actually, guys. Free to use and free to distribute. You can sell it. If you want, you can sell it actually, but make some modifications and sell it. That is going to be the basic idea about these open sources. Nowadays, from the last 10 years, guys, because I was in the market from the last 20 years. That means I seen a lot of changes. Maybe you guys has been not seen the changes actually. So, but from last 23 years, I was there in the computer field, in this particular software field. So I know I have seen a complete drastic changes. I have been able to see that. So before, whenever I talk about somewhere around 20 years before, 20 years, 20, 15 years before, mostly all these softwares, whatever the softwares we used to use, They used to work mostly on the Microsoft based operating systems. But from the last, I can say somewhere around 10, 12 years back, actually, guys, almost all somewhere after 2010, 2012, most of the particular products, whatever the mainly the technologies that are getting in that has been involved or that has been invented or it has been developed, mostly there are going to be coming under open sources. Even the language, like, because I works on data science, I works with a language called as Python and R. These are the two languages I uses. Python and R. You maybe, you all of you guys may be aware about Python. Maybe you guys has been not seen about the R, but I uses Python and R. These are going to be open sources. There are so many are there actually, guys. These are going to be open sources. So generally, whenever we are working with these open source languages, they also prefer to use the open source operating systems. They don't prefer to, I can generally, we work Python on Windows. We work Python on Windows. In our training classes, we completely work Python and R only on the Windows operating systems. But whenever we go for the industry level, basically all these open source products or the open source languages, they prefer to use operating systems also, as which is going to be open source only, they will be gets recommended. That's why what is happening here is the companies are also preferring to use these particular open source operating systems, like which is Unix or any flavors of Unix. What we'll see that features, we'll see it later actually, guys. So even not only that is, I'm telling with perspective to me why I was a data science trainer. Basically, mostly I was involved in the data science. Why I have been using the Python. Sorry, why I'm going to be using this Unix operating system, because most of our whatever the languages we use like Python or R, we are going to be preferred to use, which is going to be the Unix operating systems what we are going to be using. Got the point, guys? So Python and R are going to be open source languages. Even that's why the persons who are working on Python and R, if you just learn Python, that is not sufficient actually, guys. If you just learn Python, that is not sufficient. So if you want to get a job, really, if you want to show some skill or if you want to get a more priority in the interview point of view, so don't say that you only have a knowledge of Python. You also say that you also have a knowledge of which is going to be a Linux or a Unix operating systems. Why? Because mostly in real applications, they prefer to use this kind of an which is open source operating systems. They prefer to use. Not only that, actually, guys, maybe you have been heard about like some of the big data systems. Some of the big data systems. So who works on Python, who works on R? They not only they has to learn Python. For example, you join a Python class. You completed your Python class actually, guys. Complete your Python course. Python training is over. But whenever we go for an interview point of view, so they at least they expect that you have some little bit knowledge about that particular the Unix operating systems also. So can't you work on Windows? We can work on Windows, but preferably we are going to be. So some of the languages, even Java is there. Java is not an open source, but Java also supports working with both, which is going to be Windows as well as which is the Linux operating systems. But there are some softwares, most of the Microsoft based softwares, they don't support Linux operating systems. They support only Windows operating systems. Most of the Microsoft products when it comes to the Microsoft products actually. So guys, I don't know why most of the people, it's already third person. Right. Fine, guys. So once again, guys, so these Python people or who are going to learning Python nowadays, everybody is learning Python language. So learning Python is not sufficient because the companies expect that you have to have some exposure to the Linux environments or the Unix environment. Sir, is it complex to learn? Is it any complex to learn? Just a minute. right? Right. So when it comes to this, okay, as we are discussing about that, learning, as you can see that, so these open source languages, they prefer to learn, they prefer to work on the, which is going to be basically, yeah, I think they are working from mobiles and all these things, guys. That may be the problem. So please, everyone, guys, please try to join from a machine, from a laptop, guys. So everyone, guys, please try to join from a laptop or a desktop, because that is going to be the better. Mobiles, it's not that much comfortable actually. Okay, fine. So it is just disturbing that. Okay, let's go ahead actually, guys. So some languages like which is going to be Python and R, they prefer to use which is going to be this kind of a Linux operating systems. And nowadays we are hearing about which is going to be some kind of a big data systems. Like if we talk about something like Apache, whenever we talk about Apache Hadoop, or whenever we are talking, I'm not saying that you guys has to learn Hadoop actually, guys. Nowadays the companies are recommending. So why people are learning Linux or Unix system is, whatever may be the technology you are using, most of the technologies nowadays, they are working on the, which is going to be these open source operating systems. Apache Hadoop, or which is going to be Apache Spark, almost all the Apache products. I think you all of you know that even Apache is also one of the open source community only, which provides you a lot of open source languages and open source frameworks. We have so many are there actually, guys. Apache Hadoop, Apache Pig, Apache Hive, Apache Scoop, Apache Kafka, Apache Spark. Almost are nowadays. I'm not talking about all of them. Nowadays, even the big data engineers, so which is going to be data engineering role, even those people are preferring to, because most of these are going to be works on the, which is going to be on open, because there are open source products actually. So they always prefer to use the open source operating systems. So whether you learn some languages, like whether it is Python, or whether we have been learn a language like which is going to be a language or Python, or which is going to be something like an R, or it may be some Hadoop, or which can be something like I can say that which is going to be something like which is going to be the Spark, etc. So they have to learn some kind of an open source, like open source operating systems are going to be gets recommended. So that is the reason why nowadays everybody is learning. Everybody has to learn this at least. Sir, is it any complicated? Is it a programming language? No, it is not a programming language actually, guys. Then, sir, why we have to learn separately? Just like Windows, sir, nobody, I never learned Windows from anybody. Automatically, I started using, and automatically I was able to use the particular Windows very easily. Even guys, even we are using the Windows from so many years, still we don't have that many knowledge of internals of Windows actually. Even this particular Python programmers or R programmers, they really don't require the internals of that much internals of the operating system. But at least even it's not a mandatory, guys. Once if you got a job, once you get a job on the Python, you went to the you join in a you have been gotten job. So once you enter into that particular enterprise, maybe they are using a Linux operating system. So you never seen the Linux operating system. Then immediately on the first day you will get confused. You are going to be get worried about, I don't know anything about the Linux, what you have to do that. It won't take that much time. Just if you spare some 1 week or 10 days of time, like even we also know, guys, first time when you use it, the computers, whenever you use it, your computers also, first time you are not aware about. Slowly how you have been learned how to use Windows operating system also, easily we can learn the Linux operating system very easily. But only the thing is, it is not that much simple. Like I'm not saying that it is difficulty, but it is not that much simple like your Windows. Why? Because in Windows mostly we are going to use GUI based graphical user interface. Mostly we use the mouse. If you want to create a directory, how do you create a directory actually, guys? So once you want to create a directory, basically we know that right click and we'll say that which is going to be new, and we are going to say that a new directory what we are going to create it. You can also do it by using command prompt also actually, guys, right? You know that how to open a command prompt actually. So you can just open a terminal like this and you can just perform the operations, whatever the operations you want to do. mkdir, isn't it? We know that, but only thing is we don't prefer to use it actually, guys. mkdir, I'm going to be creating a folder, which is going to be test folder on the desktop. I have been got created actually, guys. A directory, a folder has been got created. So you can come here and you can check it out. On the desktop, you have been got created a folder called as a test folder has been got created. So this is going to be nothing but just it is going to be command prompt. It is also Windows. It is also going to be Windows only, guys, which is going to be, we can see Windows copyrighted to, which is going to be Microsoft Corporation. All rights has been got reserved. But only thing is, it is going to be just like a command prompt. And this is going to be mostly, we are going to be working with the GUI base. How to delete the folder? Right click and simply we are going to say that it is going to be delete the folder actually. Mostly GUI based. Mostly it is going to be GUI based actually, guys. But coming to this particular Linux or the Unix operating systems, mostly we are going to be gets working with the, which is going to be mostly with the command line only, guys. So one is going to be GUI based and the other one is going to be a character user interface, which is going to be GUI and CUI, what they call it as graphical user interface, and which is going to be a command user interface actually, guys, or what they are going to call it as a command line interface, CLI, command line interface, what they call it as. Okay. So which is going to be a command line interface, what they are going to call it as actually. Everything they use it by using command prompt only. And slightly there is a difference in the operating system, the directories, paths and all these things, a little bit different will be there. Normally, whenever we work with the Windows, we know that path C:/D:/, we are going to work with that. But in Linux, we don't work like that. Everything will start from a root, starting with something like a slash. From here only, we are going to work root slash. Here also we have a desktop. Here also we have a downloads. They're also going to be GUI based, but mostly we are going to work everything with the command based only. We are going to work. Everything is a command line interface, guys. So Windows, mostly we are going to work with GUI based. Though it supports command line also, we prefer to use which is GUI based. Whereas whenever it comes to the Linux or Unix operating system, mostly we are going to be using a command line interface. So that is the reason, guys. So after this Python, when this has been happened actually, guys, all this has been happened almost all after around 2014. After 2014 only, all this Python are okay, Apache, Hadoop, Spark, all this has been came into the existence. So people also started preferring to use that particular Linux operating systems. And one more reason also actually, guys. So my screen is visual, guys. For everyone, it is visible. Because it is visual, I think I don't have a problem with that. Okay, so please check it out your settings once. Okay, next. And apart from this, actually, guys, the main reason why people started learning the particular Unix operating systems is due to most of the cloud computing systems, actually, guys, or cloud systems or cloud services, what we are going to be using nowadays. These cloud services also has been became a very, very popular. Like most of the people, companies are completely depending on this particular cloud services only, guys. So generally, mostly I'll go to the corporate trainings actually. So nowadays, previously means some years before, they used to say that everything we want to work on a standalone system. You have to install the software and then we have to install the software in your system and we have to work. But nowadays, most of our trainings is going to be mostly on which is going to be a cloud-based services only. They are saying that we want the trainings on so and so service. So the cloud, that is some of the cloud services like Azure. We'll discuss about what are cloud computings. Azure, which is going to be the AWS, Microsoft Azure, or Amazon Web Services, or Google Cloud, or even so many are clouds. So many clouds are there actually, guys, which is going to be what we call it as GCP, Google Cloud Platform. Most of these particular services is internally using the operating system as Unix actually, guys. So that's why if you want to work with some of the services, most of the services, if you want to work, must and should, you should be familiar at least some basics of Linux operating system or any Unix operating system is going to be required actually, guys. Okay, so basically the reason for, I'm just telling the reason actually, guys, why people started learning, why people has been preferring to learn the Linux, because is most of the Python developers or R, whatever the developers, they have to work on the Unix operating systems. Even some kind of a big data systems, not only this one, guys, even DevOps, all these are going to be working on the Linux operating systems only. So even when you work with something like an Apache Hadoop or any Apache products, or which is going to be some kind of a big data systems like Hadoop, Spark, Kafka, all these are going to be prefer to work on the open source operating systems like Unix. Even most of the cloud services also, they are going to be working based on the Unix operating systems. So if you want to learn some cloud services, if you want to use some cloud services, you should be having at least some basics of which is going to be these operating systems, guys. At least some basic knowledge is required. So our main aim in this particular course, whatever that this particular course training program is, to become not only just a basic or a beginner in the Linux, just we are learning specifically you are learning actually, guys. So we don't want to just become only beginners. So we want to just become something like an admins, which is going to be some kind of an admin level operations, not completely admin, but at least some kind of an expertise in this particular, what we can call it as the Unix operating systems. But generally, you all of you know it actually, guys, even Windows. Normally, we know how to use a Windows, but if you want to work with networking, or if you want to work with something like an communication, or if you want to convert all this network and all these things, there is going to be something called as a system administrator. Same as it is, we have a separate Linux admins will be there actually, guys. So Linux admins are going to be a little bit higher level, some administrators, mostly related to securities, hardware configurations, networking. All these are going to be taken care by the Linux admins. So here we are not going to be a Linux admins actually, guys. We don't call ourselves as a Linux developers also. It's not a Linux developers, but basically why we are learning here is, it is to support some other languages. We are going to be learning some kind of a basic Linux applications or Linux operating system. You should be aware about that. So I don't say that we are Linux developers here, because we don't call ourselves as a developers, just a Linux users only, guys. Just like how we are using Windows. A person who knows how to use a Windows, he cannot become, say, a Windows developer. We don't have any such kind of a role called as a Windows developer. We have a Python developer or a Java developer. So using by language, we have to develop some business applications. But these are purely operating systems actually, guys. So we are going to be, you can say that you are having something expertise in working with the Unix operating systems. So we are not here to become a Linux admin. Linux admins are different. There are going to be very high level. They have to work with some advanced level, higher levels applications. But here as a basic Linux user or an intermediate or expert level user, so what are the particular commands and all these things that are required? That is what we are going to be learning as part of our course curriculum. We are going to learn it actually, guys.
Yeah, hi Vamsi. Sorry
Yes.
to interrupt in the middle.
Yeah. Go ahead.
So you are saying that we are not admin, right? Like if I complete this course.
No, it's not Linux admin. Some Linux basic admin commands we are going to learn, but Linux admin is going to be completely different. It's going to be a different course. It is.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, sorry. Like what kind of job I can get it? Like after I complete this course in Linux?
No, it's basically Linux is only based on Linux. You can't get a job completely.
Okay.
So you should be learning some other language.
One more thing, sir. Like earlier you said, like if I learn only Python, we can't get a job and we can't survive. So, but I learned only Python. With that Python, I am surviving since 3 years.
Okay, see, because you know that. So you are using which operating system in your you are working on your enterprise. So what operating system you are using actually?
Windows only I'm using.
If you are using, see, I'm not saying that every company is going to be using the Windows only, but it is better because all these operating systems, whatever the open source operating system. So tomorrow, so see, you are only at this particular level. Are you using any cloud computing systems or anything, something like that?
No, so far
no.
I haven't used.
So you're not using, but if you want to use anything like any AWS EC2 machines or etc., if you require, Obviously, if you want to move to the cloud, obviously we have to require, as part of my knowledge, you are working, you are not using clouding means it is not going to be that much higher level applications as of my knowledge. But
Yes,
if you
yes.
want to go to a
Mostly
very
are
higher level
focusing.
applications, obviously nowadays clients preferring to move everything to the cloud. So if you want to move to the cloud, you should be knowing about some knowledge of Unix operating system is required.
Okay, okay. Thanks.
Okay,
Thanks.
fine.
Okay.
So this is not a, it's not a developer. It's not going to be a programming language. So we cannot call it as a developer, but only the thing is, it is better to know. Why? Because most of the companies prefer to use. If you're really working with Windows, that is going to be well and good. But if you want to move to the cloud later, if a company want to move all your Python applications to the cloud, then at least you should be having some basic knowledge, like how do you write the scripts and all these things we are going to require. Absolutely. And somebody has been raised a question saying that, sir, are you going to train shell scripting too? Absolutely. Yes, we are going to be having the shell scripting. Obviously, without having a shell scripting, we cannot go for. Obviously, we are going to be having some kind of a shell scripting. All the things. Like it is not going to be any complicated. We don't write any business logics. Okay, we are not going to write any business logic. You know, guys, what is operating system? So operating system is nothing but where we can manage all our files, folders, users, okay, some kind of a scheduling of jobs, cron jobs, how to work with the cron jobs, all these things we are going to be gets working with that actually. Okay, fine. So course duration is going to be 40-45 days. Hardly it is going to be every day 1 hour class will be there, which is going to be from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. is going to be exactly your class timing. And your course duration is going to be exactly, it's very small course, hardly 40-45 days. 40 days is sufficient. Okay, fine. Right, guys. So just quickly, don't worry about that. Just I want to show you, sir, then how I'm going to work on the Linux. Sir, how I can work on the Linux. For example, Python, if you want to work with Java, you can just download the software and you can work with them. Sir, then how can I work with the Linux here? Linux is an operating system. So for that, anyhow, we cannot actually, we can work with, I can buy a new computer and without having an operating system, and I can configure the Linux, but I don't want to buy it actually. So for that, we are going to be using something called as virtual machines we are going to use, guys. So what is mainly purpose of virtual machines, guys? We are going to be on top of your Windows without disturbing the Windows operating system. We are going to be installing a separate operating systems. They are called as, which is going to be guest operating systems. So on top of the Windows, I'm going to be installing, which is going to be a Linux operating system with the help of a virtual machines. So we have a different types of virtual machine softwares. Like I'm going to be using VMware, or we can use something called as an Oracle VirtualBox. Different virtual machines are there. So I'm preferring to use, which is going to be VMware software actually, guys. Very easy and very easily we can work with them, guys. Very simple also. I'll show you the setup later. So it is going to be VMware Workstation Player will be there. That is what we are going to be installing. And on top of that, we'll see the setup actually, guys. We'll see the setup actually. Just quickly, I'll show you. Just I want to show you the operating system. You can work with Ubuntu or CentOS, guys. I prefer to use CentOS. Some people prefer to use Ubuntu, so not a problem. Both we can set up actually, guys. See, guys, this is going to be my VMware Workstation Player. Here already I have been set up. My setup was already there. Just quickly, I'll show you. Have a look at this one. It's a completely a different operating system. It's a completely different operating system. Looks like more clearly like Windows only. More closely like Windows only it is going to looks like. More closely like Windows only it is going to looks like actually, guys. See, guys. This is going to be my CentOS operating system. CentOS is also one of the flavor of Linux operating system. So see, guys, if I open my computer, slightly different actually, guys. We don't have C drive, we don't have D drive, we have a file system. So this is in the file system, we are going to be having a folder. Like I can see, which is currently working with the root user. So you will be having a folder called as n, which is going to be root. Like that, we are going to be gets working here actually, guys. This is going to be my root folder. In the root folder, we are having something called as a downloads. Because I works with the guys, I works with Hadoop, I works with Hive, I works with JDK, Java. I'm going to be working with Pig. So because I was into the data science and data engineering roles, mostly my trainings are related to data science and data engineering roles. Even as then, because to work with them, must and should I have to require a basic idea about Linux operating systems. So I'm going to be working with this particular Linux operating systems. Mostly we are going to be working with the, which is going to be command prompt only. We are going to be working with them, guys. So this is going to be my command prompts. Okay. Everything mostly we are going to work with the command prompts only. So what are the different commands? Just we'll have a look into that. Basic commands you maybe already know. Some people already may be aware about the basic commands, but along with that, it is better to know some kind of an additional, like so many commands will be there, guys. So many basic commands, basically file related commands, user related operations, networking related commands, or generalized some commands will be there. We'll see them applications actually. Okay. So just an example, I just show you, like which is going to be something like some shell scripting. What are going to be the shell scripts we have been got written? Just I'll show you some commands actually, guys, like which is going to be check file, which is going to be .sh. So these are going to be some of the what we can say that some kind of a shell scripts what we have been got written actually. Just it's going to be not a programming language, but just basically some small scripts we are going to write it. We don't write a big program like C, C++, all these things we are not going to use it actually. So see my hands on. So you can see everything I'm going to be using with the help of which is going to be this particular command prompts only why I'm going to be using mostly with the commands, not by using any GUI based. I don't use mouse. Maximum I prefer to use the command prompt only. Just open the command prompt. I can do all the work, whatever we can do that. Same, almost all same commands, guys. mkdir, just we can say, I want to remove the folder. It is going to be rm, which is going to be, I want to do recursive. We have some options are there, guys. Don't worry about that. Okay. So which is going to be some kind of an Vamsi folder. So what has been happened, you can see that whether that Vamsi folder was there or not there, it was not there. There is a Vamsi 1, Vamsi 2 folders are there. I want to remove. It is going to be. So what is this commands are used for? So we'll see that particular applications. Does not matter with that directory. You can see that Vamsi 1, Vamsi 2 folders are no more available on my system. So don't worry, everything we are going to be working with the command prompt. This is a virtual machine and the operating system which I'm going to be using is CentOS operating system, which is one of the flavor of which is going to be Linux. Anything you can work with Ubuntu, we can work with this one CentOS, anything you can work with that particular applications. Okay, so just an idea about that. So this is going to be a different operating system, guys. It's completely a different operating system. You can see it actually, guys. This is completely different. On top of the Windows, we have been set up this actually. Yes, Linux useful in AWS. Absolutely. In Azure, it will be less used. But in AWS, mostly it is going to be most of the applications will work on which is going to be Linux operating systems only. Okay. So that's why whenever the people learning about the Linux, even when they're using the AWS services, they prefer to learn this kind of an applications. Yes, Linux works on Oracle also. Oracle works on the Linux. You can work Linux used in, not Linux used in Oracle. Oracle works on the Linux operating system. Okay. Yes, yeah, obviously. Vamsi Krishna, as I told you, so DevOps engineers, everybody nowadays we have to learn which is going to be all the whatever to work on any kind of an which is except the admin level, remaining as a normal whenever you want to work as an which is going to be as a Linux user, whatever the contents or whatever the concepts you require, all the concepts we are going to be learned as part of our course actually. So even I also don't work completely on Linux. I'm actually basically I was into the data science. So mostly my data science related applications, Python are, so I was into the data science and data engineering roles actually. Okay. So there I'm going to be using this particular Linux operating systems, what I'm going to be using. Okay, fine. So anyhow, this is going to be my system actually. We'll also have a setup on that actually. Could you please let us know regarding course structure? I think my backend team is going to share you the course structure actually. You can also find it in the DURGASOFT onlinetrainings.com. There you can find it off actually. Okay, Nitin, how Linux is helpful to PLSQL developers? So basically, PLSQL developer, we know that it is going to be database related operations. Okay. So like, as you know that, see, even whenever you want to run some kind of an scripts, you want to run some kind of an, which is going to be your scripts you want to run. I want to write a PL SQL program. So you want to run some kind of a scripts every day at morning 6 o'clock. So I can schedule with the help of some kind of an cron jobs. So whenever you are working, so independent of whatever the language you are working, okay. So whether you work on Java, yes, you are working on Java. For example, if you want to work on Java, let us say in a Linux operating system, at least basically you should know not only the Java commands, like how to copy the Java program from one file to another file, or how to run that particular file, or how to move that particular file, or how to run some particular scripts automatically. I want to run a Java program. So how to run that particular scripts automatically at a particular time, scheduling. So these are all going to be some of the regular daily tasks, whatever you do. So with the help of the operating system that requires some knowledge of Linux operating systems are required. Okay. So it depends on your usage. It's not like what language we are going to be using, we can use it. Okay. Yes, Subramaniam, my backend team is going to share you, or else you can find out the course curriculum also if you go to durgasoftonlinetraining.com or online.com. There we can see the courses. I think you have been registered for the course. So these are going to be the new batches. So when you go to the new batches there, you can find out the whatever that particular one is there. Just let me show you. You can find that. We can find out that particular one. So where is that? Yeah, this one we can see it actually, guys. These are the course content what we can see. Just click on the link. I think link was failed actually. No worries. My backend team is going to share you. I'll ask my backend team to share that particular contents to that. Even I also have it actually. Just let me check it out once. Otherwise, I can share you. I'll share you the this one. Just have a look into that once. I think I have the link with me. Just give me a second. Okay. So I think the link was missing, guys. As of now, it was not available with me. So once it is available, yeah, I think it is available here, guys. I'll share the link, guys. I'll share the link to all of you so that you can have a link to that. Yeah, I'll share the link actually, guys. Right. So I've shared the link, guys. I think if you just click on the link, it is navigating to that. So this is the which one actually, guys. I think earlier one more faculty was taking the trainings. So he was taking the previous batch. Same course contents. I'm also going to follow it actually, guys. So even Linux administration, AWS and the cloud, I told you, no, we are going to be having some kind of an AWS EC2 machines, how to create it. So those things, because I also works on the AWS. I also works on the AWS. These are all some kind of file-based commands. We'll see them actually, guys. We'll see all that particular applications. So which is going to be how to do the job scheduling, cron tab options, what are going to be, how we are going to be working, some kind of a networking. All these are commands only, guys. There are going to be something like which is going to be the commands what we are going to be gets working actually. So these are all the what we can see the application, guys. So I shared the link. You can just go through the link and you can study it. You can just go through them actually. Right, guys? So that's it, guys. That is going to be just today is my today and tomorrow, guys. Just I'll take some introduction part. So just today, I just taken like why do you require a Linux actually? So Linux is one of the operating system, just like how we have a Microsoft. But only the thing is, which is going to be an open source. So which most of the open source languages or open source communities prefer to use it. So like I told you, some of them, even Java developers, even Oracle, because Oracle MySQL, even MySQL works on the which is going to be on the Linux operating systems. So everyone who is going to be working on that particular operating system, at least they should be having some basic knowledge about how to work with that particular operating system. So at least if you know in Windows, how to know, we have to know, at least we have to know how to create a folder, how to create a file. Without knowing that, I cannot learn. For example, if you want to learn Python, if you want to learn a Java, So I want to create a particular Java file, how to create it. So if without knowing how to create a file, we cannot learn the Java. Same as it is. Most of the products nowadays, they are preferring to work on the Linux operating system. That's why whenever you want to learn some programming languages like DevOps or something like that. So even not only DevOps, even some kind of another things, like whenever they want to learn about AWS, or they want to learn some data science, data engineering, some SQL. Nowadays, even SQL also they are preferring to run on the Linux operating system. So it is better to learn, or it is better to learn one operating system in depth about that. Just like a basic commands, you want to learn a more and more the in depth about that particular commands. If you know, will be having a good control on the operating systems, and it is very easy. You don't require any programming languages. You don't require any prerequisites, guys. Nothing prerequisites are learning. No language, no nothing is going to be required. Directly anybody can learn the basic Linux operating system. So how we use Windows, same as it is, we also want to use the Linux operating system that much easily. We want to work with that. Yes, yeah, all these are going to be so many different flavors of Linux. We have it actually. Okay, so many are there. So we have, depending on the operating systems, we can use that actually, guys. Okay, so Teja Kumar. So we have multiple, we have a flavors are there. So depending on that, we can use it actually. It's not that only this one we have to use, but so many are there actually. Just we'll see all those things in our regular classes. In the introduction part, I'll show you all those particular comments, all those particular options. I'll show you that. Okay, so that's it, guys. That's it for the today's class. So because it does not require the yearly a more and more introduction part, just today is going to be like why people preferring to learn the Linux operating system. Who preferably uses? Almost all everyone is preferring this, except the Microsoft products. Most of all the Oracle products is going to be works on the Linux operating system. Most of the Oracle products works on Linux operating system, cloud services. Not only that, as are the latest languages like Python, R, all these are going to be supporting. They works preferably most on the operating systems like Linux. So it is better to have some knowledge of Linux. That is the reason why we are going to be here to learn this particular, the Unix or a Linux operating systems. Okay, so just for today, we'll end up for today, guys. Tomorrow, I'm going to just start with some introduction part. And after that, I'm going to start with my regular classes from the third class. 1 or 2 class demos, guys. Tomorrow, day after tomorrow, I'll take a demos, just an introduction parts only. And after that, maybe Saturday, don't take the class. From Monday onwards, I'll start with the regular classes, guys. Okay, fine. It is 6 days a week. 6 days a week. Yes, Chinmay, this course is enough if anybody wants to start the careers in DevOps. Absolutely. It is just like you have to learn DevOps. Obviously, we have to learn the DevOps actually. But along with the DevOps, we have to have some knowledge about the Linux operating system. So it is going to be not like a prerequisite, but if you want to manage or if you want to work on the DevOps in multi environments, then Windows as well as which is going to be Linux, you should be having the knowledge. It's not that if you learn this, you can become a DevOps engineer, isn't it? So you learn the DevOps, along with that, how to manage the DevOps applications in our Linux operating systems. Okay, fine. Yes, Siddharth, it's a basic idea about AWS, but we don't go into in-depth about that. But basically, you can work with them because I also have the idea about AWS. We can work, but not everyone requires. Maybe if you are working on AWS, DevOps, and all these things, yes, you can troubleshoot some kind of an applications, but not about higher level issues or higher level debugging. You cannot do that. But basic, whatever the basic that is going to be required, you can do it actually. Okay. Yes, as of now, classes is on weekdays only, Raju. Okay, fine. Okay, guys, thanks for today. I think it does not require much. It does not require much knowledge or much discussions on that. So it's very easy. That is basically one thing you can say that. And anyhow, we are not going to be learning any language here. Basically, just to how we are going to be working on Windows, just like we are also going to be working. Very interesting also actually, guys, because we don't know internals about operating system. We know basically like how to create a folder, how to copy the files, how to move the files. But here we are going to do more and more about that, isn't it? So not just like a beginner, but we are going to be as a expert in the Linux user, how much extent you are going to be requiring, all those things we are going to discuss in our regular classes, guys. Okay. So thank you for today, guys. And I'll see you tomorrow at the same time and at the same link, guys. Okay. So thank you for today, guys, all of you.